I don't know. With his experience, I don't know. I never seen the guy fight, so I can't testify to, you know, what he's capable of doing. But I know Usyk, and I know what level he's on, and I think he's up for it. He's going to put on an amazing show come Saturday night, and I just wish them both the best, and, you know, hopefully both of them can leave the ring safely and sound.
It would be a big win for Verhoeven if it is competitive. Verhoeven has more paths to victory. He can win the event in more different ways than Usyk, because he doesn't have to technically win.
As anticipation builds up for Oleksandr Usyk versus Rico Verhoeven, Terence Crawford and boxing pros have delivered their final predictions for the May 23rd clash, with excitement rising around this rare cross-discipline matchup.
I think, you know, he's going to go out there and do whatever he wanted to do. You know, I think Rico going to be tough at first, but I think Usyk, with his experience, he's gonna figure him out fairly early, and I don't know. We're going to see for a good fight.
Do you think there's a lot of pressure on Usyk? Because he's got a lot to lose against a guy who's you know, what, never really boxed before.
He used to the pressure. You got to understand, like, Usyk been having a lot of pressure on him since the Olympics, since winning the Olympics, since, you know, going up to heavyweight and beating Fury, and all the things that he's been doing in the ring. So he's used to the pressure. It's no pressure for him.
As the fight is around the corner, Chris Arreola highlights that size and physical strength are natural advantages that cannot be developed through training. He acknowledges the opponent's kickboxing experience and toughness from taking damage, but still strongly favors Usyk, predicting a relatively quick finish within a few rounds.
First of all, you can't teach size. You can't teach 6'5", 270. You can't teach that, all right? Second of all, whether it's kickboxing or boxing, he still has a pedigree of fighting. He knows what it's like to get hit, and those kicks ain't no joke. I'd rather get punched than kicked.
Right.
So he must have a good chin or good body work. So I'm looking forward just to see what Usyk could do against a lesser opponent. He probably should end up within 2 to 3 rounds.
Meanwhile, Mike Coppinger noted that even at 39, Usyk still appears to be performing at his absolute peak with no visible decline in his skills or sharpness. He added that physically, Usyk looks even more imposing lately, suggesting noticeable muscle gain and a more powerful built appearance ahead of the fight.
It's funny, right? Even though Usyk's 39, I feel like he's at the top of his game.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any slippage at all. I feel like and if you see the photos, it looks like Usyk put on a lot of muscle. I mean, this guy looks like a tank right now.
Mike further emphasized that Usyk is stepping into a matchup where he won't be dealing with a grappler, but an opponent who is comfortable standing and trading. He made it clear that Usyk isn't expected to lose, given his dominance at heavyweight. He also pointed out that Usyk has already cleared out much of the division, underlining his proven superiority.
He's going to take a fun fight. This isn't a wrestler. He's fighting a guy that knows how to stand up. No one's suggesting that Usyk's going to lose this fight, but Usyk has effectively cleaned out the heavyweight division.
Breaking it down further, Mike believes Rico Verhoeven could be more capable in boxing than expected, noting his elite kickboxing background and reputation as a longtime heavyweight standout. He also pointed to his size and experience, suggesting he may surprise people in the ring.
When you're a guy that's so accomplished like Usyk, and then you're fighting a guy that is only his second pro fight, and he's doing a bunch of punching from weird angles, so it could be a little embarrassing because it's not the same, it's not the basic boxing style. Yeah, so you could probably get hit with weird shots that are coming from all crazy angles, him stepping off. So it could probably present complications for Usyk.
Agreeing with Mike Coppinger, Shane McGuigan stated that boxing and kickboxing are on completely different levels, suggesting a kickboxer would always be at a disadvantage against a pure boxing specialist. He believes the technical gap is too large, making the matchup heavily one-sided.
Yeah, I feel like there's levels to this game. As a kickboxer, he's always going to be up against the guy who's a master at boxing. I don't think he's got a chance at all.
However, Ariel Helwani pushed back against the dismissive tone aimed at Rico Verhoeven, saying it overlooks what he brings as a decorated kickboxing champion. He made it clear he wasn't claiming Verhoeven would beat Oleksandr Usyk, but stressed that Usyk's status as an Olympic gold medalist and multi-division boxing champion places him at the very top of the sport. At the same time, he argued that both athletes deserve serious respect when discussing a crossover matchup of this magnitude.
Because I've been blown away by the disrespect that has been shown to Rico Verhoeven. Am I sitting here and saying he's going to beat Oleksandr Usyk? No, of course I'm not saying that. Oleksandr Usyk is arguably the best fighter pound for pound in the world, certainly the best heavyweight of this generation. He's one of the greatest all-time fighters. He's an Olympic medalist. He's a 2-division champion. His resume is unmatched. But they're talking about him like he's a total scrub.
Kelvin Henderson reacted to the Usyk versus Verhoeven fight, noting Verhoeven's strong reputation in kickboxing, but lower profile in boxing. He questioned its appeal in the US market, but still backed Usyk as the clear favorite, while expecting solid global interest.
Usyk just recently announced his next opponent, Rico Verhoeven, I guess. I don't know much about the guy, but apparently he's a huge kickboxing star, kickboxing champion. I'm not sure if it's a fight that Americans or the American entertainment value is going to really buy, but apparently he's a well-known name across the world in kickboxing. So we're going to see. I mean, it's hard for me to go against Usyk in this, man, just because Usyk is just a boxer. Maybe it's just a big PR money grab to afford the purse that Usyk is well deserved. But I don't know. Of course, I got to go with Usyk right now. What y'all think? Let me know.
On the other hand, Spencer Oliver highlighted that the fighter understands this is a rare opportunity at the heavyweight level, where timing and chances matter most. He described him as a powerful puncher with a strong physical presence, and noted that he has spent around 6 months preparing under Peter Fury's guidance. He also added that the fighter already possesses solid boxing ability and is now ready to capitalize on his moment.
Absolutely, but look, he recognises the opportunity, and that's what this game is. It's opportunity. It's heavyweight boxing. The kid can whack. He's a big old lump, and he's going to go out there. He's trained for 6 months for this, believe it or not, under the watchful eye of Peter Fury. You know, he's good with his hands anyway, and he gets that opportunity.
Meanwhile, Teddy Atlas is firm in his view that an upset is not expected. He points out that Rico Verhoeven, despite being a legendary kickboxer, has very limited boxing experience, with just 1 professional fight back in 2014 against a carefully chosen opponent. He suggests that this level of experience is not enough at the elite boxing stage, making it unlikely that Verhoeven adds another win to his boxing record against top opposition.
We're not gonna see an upset. Verhoeven is a legendary kickboxer, but he's had 1 pro fight, boxing fight, and he won
in 2014.
Against a handpicked guy. So he's 1-0, and he's not going to be 2-0.
Teddy emphasizes respect for every opponent, particularly one who is strong, athletic, and seasoned in kickboxing. Still, he stresses that elite boxing operates at an entirely different standard, and he does not view Verhoeven as having a realistic chance against Usyk in a boxing ring.
If anyone deserves a little break, look, you don't take anyone for granted. He's a big, strong guy, Verhoeven. He's in good shape. He's physical. He's game. He's experienced in the kickboxing realm. You don't take anyone for granted, but he doesn't figure to have any chance against Usyk.
Furthermore, Teddy Atlas explains that it ultimately depends on Usyk's approach, whether he chooses to take his time and get rounds in or immediately increase the pace. He highlights Usyk's ability to target the body, counter cleanly, and build combinations against a tall, defensive opponent who stays in front and gives a visible target. He adds that such a style can play right into Usyk's strengths, allowing him to break through the guard with varied attacks, including body shots and uppercuts.
It's just up to Usyk. What does he want to do? Does he want to get some rounds in? Does he want to box a little bit, get some rounds in? Take a peek at the pyramids as he's moving around a little bit. And does he want to do that, or does he want to push the metal to the pedal a little bit, the pedal to the metal, and look to go to the body, look to catch this guy with counter punches, look to set up his combinations that he's very capable of setting up on a guy who stands straight, tall guy who covers up, but he gives you a target. He's there. He covers pretty good, but when a guy covers like that, and you find a guy like Usyk, it's like having a heavy bag in front of you. Usyk will put punches together. He'll take what you give him. He'll go to the body, he'll split the guard with the uppercut. There's so many things he could do.
On the other side, the analyst suggests the fight is likely to be fairly straightforward despite the unpredictability of combat sports. He acknowledges the opponent's punching power, kickboxing background, and heavyweight physicality, but stresses that elite boxing requires much more than basic attributes or athletic ability. He also highlights Usyk's professionalism, discipline, and consistency, concluding that the level difference makes a comfortable win for Usyk the most likely outcome.
I think it should be relatively straightforward, but it's combat sports, it's boxing. At the end of the day, he's got 2 arms, he can punch, he's a banger in the kickboxing. He's heavy-handed apparently, and he's got a lot of power, and he's working with Peter Fury, so he will be a bit unorthodox, but I think as soon as Usyk gets to grips with it and eases into it, it should be relatively straightforward. I said last week on here, I'm not putting Dave Allen down. There's so many other factors that have got to go your way to have a chance in it, and just having 2 arms and being able to punch and being in the heavyweight division isn't one of them, but I just think, yeah, there's too much at stake for Usyk to take his eye off the ball and let it slip. He's a consummate professional. He's always done it the right way, and I just can't see anything but a relatively straightforward win for him.
Derek Chisora sees Verhoeven winning this fight and believes he comes up short, viewing the outcome as already heavily one-sided.
Yeah, watch this. I think Usyk loses this fight in Egypt.
At the same time, Chris Oliver suggests Verhoeven would be a much bigger underdog than Dave Allen was in his fight with Harevich, mainly because of the jump into a different discipline. He acknowledges Verhoeven's size and strength, but points out that such physical advantages have not been effective against Usyk in the past. He also notes that even when opponents have landed clean shots, Usyk has shown little reaction. Still, he views the matchup as an interesting contest.
Verhoeven, I think that he would probably be a bigger underdog than Dave Allen was against Hrgovic, that's for sure. Like, it's a different discipline. Yeah, he's a big old lump.
He's an impressive figure, don't he?
Yeah, he's an impressive figure, but he talks about size being a massive advantage for him, and when he lands that punch, none of the fighters before have been able to land that punch on Oleksandr Usyk, and when they have landed it, you know, like, there's been no effect. So look, it's going to be a great...
Eddie Hearn also describes the challenge as a huge step up, especially when switching disciplines and facing the very best in boxing. He stresses that it becomes even more difficult when the opponent is considered among the top pound-for-pound fighters in the sport. While acknowledging the power threat from Verhoeven and the danger of clean shots in heavyweight boxing, he suggests that the gap in experience at this level makes for a very tough night.
I think it's a massive mountain to climb. I think whenever you are changing disciplines and you come in against the best in the division, it's always going to be a hard night's work. You're not just doing that against the best in the division, you're doing that against a pound-for-pound #1. But in this division, as we saw with Ngannou against Fury, and you know, the difference is these guys can really punch, and if they land clean, there's going to be a problem, and Verhoeven can really punch.
However, Tom Aspinall believes Rico Verhoeven is being underestimated in the matchup. While acknowledging that Usyk is the superior boxer, he highlights Rico's size, experience, and long fight career as real factors that shouldn't be ignored. He adds that Verhoeven carries genuine knockout power, meaning a single clean shot could change everything, giving him a legitimate chance despite being the underdog.
I mean, I think Rico's getting wrote off.
Did you come across him?
Listen, I've been training with Rico for the last 10 years, so I'm obviously pretty Rico biased. Rico's a good friend of mine. But he's a big man. He's had a lot of fights. Fair enough, they're fighting a different sport. But he can, like, if he hits him, it could be over. Do I think that Rico's a better boxer than Usyk? Absolutely not. I'm not saying that at all. But I think that he's getting wrote off, and he's definitely got a chance of winning.
In addition, Showbiz noted that Rico Verhoeven is a dominant force in kickboxing, describing him as a powerful, aggressive, and physically imposing fighter. However, he pointed out that this reputation comes from kickboxing rather than boxing. He also suggested that Usyk has long shown interest in testing himself against different combat styles, referencing his fascination with martial arts and past desire to face fighters from other disciplines.
I looked up Rico Verhoeven, and that guy is an absolute beast, to be honest. He's a tank. He's a wrecking machine, a knockout artist. The guy's a monster. But in kickboxing, not boxing. So why would Oleksandr Usyk do something like that? Well, if you know Oleksandr Usyk the way I do, the guy is just one of those warriors. He always admired martial arts and mixed martial arts, dressing up like a samurai, shit like that. Look at his training. His training is strange. And he said many times, him fighting an MMA guy or a karate guy or a kickboxer, That was something that he always desired. Hell, he called out Alex Pereira at one point.
Liam Harrison suggests Rico Verhoeven would need to rely on kickboxing tools like leg kicks to gain any edge, but stresses that elite level boxing is a completely different sport. He views Usyk as the superior boxer, while still respecting Verhoeven as a kickboxing great who has earned major opportunities and big paydays.
Well, that'd be wild, wouldn't it? I think Rico's gonna have to boot him in leg or something though. If he wants to get any sort of advantage over him, no one can beat Usyk in a boxing fight. I don't care who you are. No one on this he's the best heavyweight on this planet, and he's the best heavyweight of his era. If guys like Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua can't put a dent in him, no one's going to be able to put a dent in him, I'm afraid. So yeah, Rico will have to throw a few leg kicks if he wants to get one over on him there. But again, Rico's a legend of kickboxing. Guys like that who have paved the way in kickboxing and have been the goats of their generation, they deserve to get these paydays and these sort of chances to showcase what they can do and just to promote themselves and to get some big money and stuff. So yeah, it'd be nice to see, to be fair.
That wraps things up, and ultimately this is a clash of elite boxing technique against raw physical strength and cross-discipline experience. One side brings years of refined skill at the top level, while the other carries size, power, and the unpredictability of a different combat sport background. It's exactly the kind of matchup that divides opinion across fight fans everywhere. Now the question is yours. Who would you back in this one? Leave your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more breakdowns like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more fight analysis.